We're starting with Josh Morrow. 8 minutes. See how difficult this is going to be? There we go. It's working.
What's the first question?
No question. Opening statement, 8 minutes.
Thanks very much for putting this event on. Thanks everybody for coming out. This is great. Shows your support.
John, can I make a suggestion? Please, if the candidates stand, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you all for coming out. This is great. We have a full house. And thank you very much for putting this on, giving us all a chance to come up here and express our vision for Prince Albert. I want to thank all three of the candidates here. This isn't the easiest thing. This is my first public forum that I've been through. Heart's beating pretty quick, hands are sweaty, the typical, but I'll get through this and hopefully you enjoy what I have to say. May I be seated?
Is that your 8 minutes?
He wants to read his stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Prince Albert senior citizens deserve and require safe, affordable, and dependable transportation. I believe 7 days a week. Currently, services are provided through the Prince Albert Seniors Transportation Program, municipal transit system, personal caregivers, and various taxi services. I attended City Council on Tuesday to learn of another senior who was injured while riding our public transit system.
Talking to my form.
A little louder? Is that better? Thanks. I personally have ridden each and every bus route within the city of Prince Albert. The people that I spoke with were concerned about the uncleanliness of the buses and the hours of operation. I personally wouldn't be comfortable sending my grandparents or parents on the public transit currently the way that it is. I'd say that the bus drivers are excellent, they're exceptional. The people that I've spoken with on the buses feel the same way. I think they're doing a great job transporting everybody around. We need to work on the cleanliness, logistics, and efficiency of the operation. The level and quality of service must be improved. Hours of operation should be expanded to suit our seniors' needs. And most importantly, the safety and cleanliness should be our top priority. Prince Albert Seniors Transportation provides courteous door-to-door services 5 days a week. This service is unfortunately underfunded and the program struggles to meet the needs of its users. They're doing the absolute best they can with what they are given, and I want to commend them for that. I've had numerous conversations with the Prince Albert and District Community Services staff to understand the inefficiencies that they're facing right now. From my understanding, they have an extra car but no funding to operate that car. Also no funding for weekend transport. The staff suggested GPS to make the cars more logistical, help them with their operations, which again costs money. Solutions for that could be a possible fundraiser and city funding as well. From my understanding, the unmanned car, as well as the addition on the weekend to run that vehicle, would be around $50,000 a year. I think that'd make a huge impact. Under municipal services offered to seniors in the city, from my understanding and a lot of conversations with the buildings that I visited, parking is a massive issue here. I witnessed a lady trip on the pavement. It's something that I think needs to be addressed. I've heard a lot of fluctuations on what it costs for parking, and I think we need to make it as easy as possible for the seniors to get into their building. Some of the distances they're walking, I think, is unacceptable. And for outside the box thinking, I think Conrad and myself would be a part of that, because obviously we're the younger generation coming through and hoping to work hard for all of you guys and make that known. The World Health Organization, the age-friendly official designation. I've spent some time going through the comprehensive list of requirements set by the World Health Organization, and we're a long way from achieving that currently. However, communities like Whitby, Ontario, have made the declaration and put strategies in place to work towards a true age-friendly community. It's never too late to start, but there has to be some serious commitment in order to achieve this. With the past record of our mayor and council, I'm extremely critical in believing this is even possible. We must become a community that people choose to be in, not forced to be in because of work or other circumstances. Municipal planning and development and the inclusion of the collective voice of seniors. Long-term planning has historically been core within the city. There have been many strategies, plans, and studies done that have never been officially adopted by council, only received and filed as information. In order for any recommendations to be put into action, council needs to stand behind the initiative with good policy and fund it accordingly. We have an incredibly talented group of people within our administration who I've seen work as a team in more ways than one. I believe the opportunity is now to work together and include the voice of our seniors in that process. As mayor, I would strongly support this and actively participate in bringing these people together. Taxes, such as the City of Saskatoon. A property tax deferral program for low-income senior citizens may help them manage increasing monthly expenses on a limited income and allow people to stay in their homes longer. Something I find very common when speaking to the senior population here. The majority of seniors want to remain in their homes as long as they can. And I believe that we'd be letting them down if we didn't assist them in some way. I've had multiple meetings with respected realtors within our city, and foreclosures on Prince Albert senior citizens is increasing. This is something I believe needs to be dealt with immediately. A person's home is the safest investment a person can have, and to think that property values can decrease here scares me. The tax deferral program offers various options to defer payment of municipal taxes when ownership of the property is transferred. For example, when the homeowner sells the property. The portion of property tax that has been deferred, then is that the buzz?
That's the buzz.
My best friend.
Yeah.
I don't hear it. That's it.
All right.
Conrad's next.
All right, Conrad.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
First of all, I'd like to think that buzzer needs to be age friendly.
Yeah. I'm looking like this to my healing aids.
So as a future mayor, age friendly buzzers at a very low cost, going on to the public. So I'm Conrad Burns. I grew up in this city and I'm passionate about this people. I'm honestly thankful to be here today. And I thank the current city councilor and mayor for the hard work they've done over the years in striving for a better community. And I want to thank all of you, because Prince Albert is made and only possible because of you and all the hard work you have been putting into our city all these years through taxes, your volunteers, your hard work, your involvement in business and commerce, and our children. Our children are reflective of you. Their smiles, their hard work, they're all reflective of the work you guys done. And so I'm thanking you for that. As we move forward, Prince Albert has a lot of barriers we have to overcome. Being age friendly, creating a council for our seniors to have an open dialogue with our counselors, who have input into our community, should be one of our main priorities. We are only responsible. We are some of our parts. So being some of the parts, you are one of those. You have to have a say. Your tax dollars matter. Your voice matters to us. We have to hit transportation. We have to deal with this problem. Our bus system is not meeting the needs of our people. How do we do this? What is the issues we have to overcome? These are the things that a council would talk to us about, and we would, as a city council, would try to overcome with you. We have to invest. Investment in our community, one step at a time. We haven't put our money where our mouth is, and we have to do that. We're talking about investment in our long-term seniors transportation, roadside assistance, access to sidewalks. There's grants within our federal government, like New Horizon, that will help us overcome these situations. My parents are respectively 62 and 63 years old. When they retire, the pension plan is about $500 a month. They're not going to be able to afford their houses, their homes. They're not going to. We have to look for long-term plans because they need to stay in their homes, and they're healthy, they're vibrant, they're energetic people that continue to give back to a community, just as many of you are. And so we have to try to figure this out together. I can give you ideas, I can give you plans, I can tell you what I'm going to do, but we have to work together to achieve this. I want to talk about the power of the human spirit. I met a guy on this walk this summer that was 80 years old, and at 80 years old, he took kids, teenagers, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, for 20-kilometer hikes. The day I met him, he sat there, I'm taking today off. You know why? I had open heart surgery the week before. I'm going tomorrow. He's invested in his community. He's invested by helping the young people, encouraging them. And the value of people is monumental. Your value is monumental. The things you've done for us is monumental. And how do we show you respect? Josh Morrow said, increase eviction rates. A city council that's 25 years ago disbanded a senior citizen group because they died. We have to have it in place where this is ongoing, so you continue to have say. Because, like Jan said, more and more seniors are coming here. We have to address these issues before it gets bigger and more people lose their homes. Community involvement. Working with communities, nonprofit organizations, schools, getting everyone active, doing what you want to do because you love it. We have to open these revenues, these doors for you, and support you completely. My door is open, and I'm here for you because that's the way I am. I've been an active member of this community for the last 30 years. And I've seen it change, and I've seen it grow, and I've seen the good, I've seen the bad. And I want to help. Not only want to help you, but I want to help our council. I want to help our leaders, our nonprofit organizations achieve their goals through support, creating revenues, grants, supporting people finding funding to achieve their goals. Because, you know, Prince Albert is the third largest city in Saskatchewan. We are a hub of many things. We service a population of 190,000 people, where some of our parts. And so why are we using that influence to put pressure on the provincial government to help everyone? You know, at 190,000 people, we're all like, that's on the verge of 200,000 votes. And that's kind of an impressive thing. We service a community of the northern communities up north. Everything, commerce, everything going up north comes to us. Everything up north goes to us going down south. So how are we achieving this? Stepping back, think outside the box, be realistic, goal-driven ideas. And I think that's where you guys come in. How do we achieve those? How does it work in the past? How do we work together to achieve them and do it? Transportation, taxes, housing. It's all realistic and it's doable. Right now with Prince Albert, we are paying the highest city taxes and commercial taxes in all of Saskatchewan. Maybe that's one of the reasons why we're having an increase of foreclosures on houses. How can we help? We have avenues to achieve these. Tax breaks, tax incentives, the ability to write grants, the ability to look for funding, because we are a city where people want to come here, create business, create commerce, and work for us to help better our community. Diversify our taxes so that it takes the burden off the people that live here and give us back our stuff. Give us back our identity. Give us back our... Thank you.
Say that.
No, you got too short.
Look.
Well, thank you. Thank you for my fellow candidates, everyone coming, and friends. I don't know how I'm going to cover everything in 8 minutes, because I don't know when you talk about seniors how you cover it in 8 minutes. But I'll try to cover it in 8 minutes. And I'll start with, I've been friends with the seniors. I get harassed at city council because any item that comes up about seniors or kids, well, there's the mayor, make the motion, get it through, you know. But I think that's important, because my grandfather taught me one thing. If you want a friend, be a friend. And when I decided to come on my visits to the homes, I asked them, and that's why I can't discuss in 8 minutes everyone's concern. But lots of it has to do with education. When I go out and ask people to donate food and products and services and toasters and TVs to some of these homes, they look at me because they have the wrong impression. And I'll give you an example. If you look at Northcott Manor, when you look at that building, people go by there and say, "Whew, those seniors must be rich." Because that is a gorgeous, beautiful building. But they don't realize that everyone in there only pays a portion of their income for rent. They don't realize it's managed by PA Housing. So first of all, we have to change our society's thought towards seniors. Because seniors are on fixed income. They only have so much. And that's why I agree with my colleagues that transportation is important. Keeping people in their homes are important. And that's why I encourage my colleagues to challenge. I belong to quite a large group of us, and I see some of them are here that can testify to this. How we keep people in their homes is we go shovel their driveways and we cut their lawns in the summertime. That's the biggest impediment for seniors to stay in their homes. They can take care of what's inside of the house, but they can't shovel snow and they can't do lawn. So we have to get more people involved in our community to help out in that situation. Because if that's all it takes to shovel, and that's where I give Vickers School credit. If you remember last winter, they had a hard time getting gym time, so what they did is they went out and bought 30 snow shovels. And they went around and shoveled sidewalks for people. People were in shock and impressed, and they weren't asked to do it, they just did it. So that's the kind of community that we have to become. We have to embrace our neighbors and help our neighbors. If that's all it takes. You've heard everyone talk, even John, about the tax deferral program. I've been involved in that program now for 4 years through SUMA, which is the Saskatchewan Urban Association. And you know why we haven't moved forward? Is what the seniors have said to me. And this hurts me. They said, "Greg, what it is, it's like a reverse mortgage. You don't pay your taxes, and then when you pass away and your estate sells it, they take it out of the estate." And they said, "Greg, we can't do that." And I said, "Why?" "Well, this is all I have left to give my kids, is my house. And I want to leave my children and my kids something. So I want to leave my house." So that's why in our province, they have not embraced the tax referral program. Because all it does, it's just like your credit card. Put it on your credit card. You're going to pay for it, you know. And that saddened me when I heard that the biggest impediment was this is all they have left to give their kids. And they didn't want to tie it up with using the money for their lifestyle, which I give them credit for. But we have to work harder. And, you know, people say, you know, we talk about health as municipal leaders, well, that's a provincial responsibility. Absolutely it is. But we represent the city of PA. We have the ear of the MLAs. We have the ear of the MPs. So we should never say to the seniors, it's not our responsibility. You elected us to be your leaders, and we should lead. And if we have an issue with healthcare, and you're right, you're going to see me coming out promoting, the number one campaign is we have to build a new hospital. That's number one. We need a new hospital. We're all aging, and we need the access to good healthcare. And we all know our hospital needs to replace. So that has to be our number one priority, is to replace our hospital. Because we need it. John mentioned it to you. Before I go visit anyone in the hospital, I phone and ask what hospital. I don't assume immediately at the big hospital. Because if they need special care, I'm going to the Royal University, City, St. Paul's. But the key is we have to work together. One of the steps that we did is, and I have to thank seniors, is we've put a lot of you on our boards. because you have the time and the knowledge to work on some of our boards and learn and put input. So that's how you get seniors involved. Put them on your boards, don't ignore them. Get them on your boards, get them on your commissions, get them on your committee. They've been here their whole lives. They know what we need. Transportation is another subject, and I don't know if we'll ever solve that. So that's an ongoing problem that we have to work on. We are working on new buses. You know, we're working with community service. We're very blessed to have community services. You know, the work that they do is incredible. And I give Bill and his drivers and everyone credit. And we're gonna do as much as we can to support them. One of the things we're looking at, we're buying new buses for the city. That's what we're looking at now. We've tied that, but let's see if we can buy some new handicap buses too, for the disabled to get around. And it has to be accessible. And I believe we make it accessible by looking at our taxis. At night, we don't need big buses running around. We have to come up with a program where you pay similar to seniors transportation. You pay $5, the city will pay $5. So then you can go to the Raider games, you can go to the show, you can go visit at the hospital. Because the worst thing is that you're shut in. So when it comes to seniors, I can't do it in 8 minutes. Because there's lots of subjects that have to be covered. I'm very pleased that John has brought forth, and I'm appreciated that our director, John, is working on an age-friendly community. That's a big step. And there's 8 things that we have to do. Outside parks and buildings has to be accessible. Well, they should be anyway. All buildings now, today, should be accessible to anyone, whether you're in a wheelchair or walker on 2 feet. Buildings have to be accessible. Transportation, getting the involvement in the people. If people feel wanted, they're out there, you know? And to educate our people that our seniors are in need. When I first got involved in Northcock 27 years ago, I was shocked at the attitude of my friends. But when you look at that building, you would think, well, they're not in need. It's a beautiful building, you know? And I congratulate the authority that keeps it in that shape. But no, they're on fixed income and they need help. And so that's why we have to look at all different kinds of programs. We have to get seniors more involved. We have to fund our Heritage Center. All our things have to be funded more so seniors will get out. I go to that Heritage Center and I see you up there, Polka Fest especially, you're all up there dancing. That's exercise. So we have to do more of that. We have to keep the seniors active, keep them, so then we don't have to take care of them. And that's why we have to build homes. And then I'm very pleased to announce in our term, council has passed a tax concession to allow Caleb to be built in the east end of our city. River Breeze on the riverbank. We know we need more affordable, good, clean housing for seniors. We know security is an issue. I remember 20 years ago when I was at the mall, even before I was in politics, we used to put on senior beware conferences to help you. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I'll let you start the timer.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Martin Ring. To some of you, I might be a little old, and to some of you, I might be a little young, but we'll get through it. As a member of our community my entire life, I've seen many changes within our community, from social, demographic changes, to where facilities are located, but more simply put, how today we manage our facilities and infrastructure. I'm not yet a senior. I'm closer to being a senior than not. The concerns brought forward by the Prince Albert Seniors Advocacy Center are not just a Prince Albert issue. They are a growing provincial and national issue. I'd like to thank you for a reminder and reference to the report completed through FCM, or the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. This report was originally released in 2013, more recently updated in 2015. There are obviously some very real concerns and observations that we are being challenged with, from transportation issues, housing issues, facility access issues. A lot of what we are faced with is the continuous offloading of these very core needs in all of our communities, with funding cuts from both federal and provincial government. We have to continue to voice our concern through our one and only federal advocacy group, FCM. We need to have a structured face-to-face regular communication with our federal members of parliament. to bring forward the concerns of our seniors. Provincially, we have to work with SUMA, Sask Urban Municipalities Association, and also with SARM, our Saskatchewan Association of Rural Municipalities. Together, we are going to have a stronger voice. I learned today that we've actually started this, but we do not today have a senior advisory committee. I will form a senior advisory committee to be made up of various partners within our community. Obviously, Prince Albert Senior Advocacy Centre would have a seat at this committee, but we also have to include seniors at large and various other stakeholders to take a more local look at senior issues in our community. Each community is different, and each community has its own diverse set of issues and social demographics that has to be flushed out and reviewed. There is no one single solution. There is not a silver bullet for this one. The Seniors Property Tax Deferral Program, I contacted Saskatoon. To date, 15 to 20 people have taken up the deferral program in Saskatoon. Only 15 to 20. That is not a solution right now. It is something still to be looked at. Do we have to change the formula? Do we have to increase the threshold of incomes of seniors? Because it starts out at an extremely low household income for where you actually qualify for that deferral program. Property taxes normally aren't based on one's income. It's based on the actual market value. Seniors' access to civic facilities. Obviously, we're going to be faced with many challenges with our seniors outnumbering the younger generation. What we have today is we have senior access rates. We have lower user fees for seniors, and at some point that number is going to outnumber the other folks that are paying the full rate for these facilities. I'm not sure how we can continue to afford to go down that road. I think we have to take a more aggressive approach to the marketing of our facilities, get some advertising dollars out of those facilities to create some additional revenue that will keep everybody's usage fees down. Senior transportation, I don't think anybody here has said anything different. We know that we have to look at it, we have to improve it. I had the opportunity earlier on this spring to sit in on a number of different sessions with our senior groups right down at the senior centers in our downtown core. And it was just hearing the stories, hearing the asks, hearing the want. And that would be probably one of the first agenda items for the new Senior Advisory Committee. The neighborhood planning sessions which we've had this past year were absolutely terrific opportunities for us to get back into each of the different neighborhoods. In those neighborhoods, we've got a mix of young and old and the diversity of issues within each. I am committed to the continuation of the neighborhood meetings in the next term of office. There were some councillors that were disappointed with the meetings and that felt that they were too negative. I always said, these are never going to be love-ins. It was obvious that it's easier for people to point out the negatives, but we also pulled out some of the positives out of those neighborhood meetings as well. Each of the faults, though, just continue to prove that we do have opportunities to improve. If we never seek to improve, we will never change what we are doing or where we are going. Lastly, and certainly not least, is our local health care. And I'm glad that that was brought up in your opening remarks, because it actually wasn't on the list of the email that we were sent out. But health care, I am committed to providing full support to our local Parkland Healthcare Board in their securing a provincially funded hospital. The healthcare needs of our community as a whole, not just for seniors, is under a tremendous amount of pressure. The number of times people have to travel to other locations for medical treatment, when we deserve to have that right here in our city, it's paramount. That's where we have to go.
I owe Martin 4 minutes. We call them now start the questions and answer period. We're going to start the questions and answer period, and you can give the mic. You can give the mic to Martin, because we're going to use the reverse counting. It's going to be Martin, Dirk, Conrad, Josh. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to.
They need to use the microphone. Can't hear you.
I'm going to give you the opportunity. Is this better? Yes. Okay. I'm going to give you the opportunity to kind of think about questions. But I have received one question from Rob Thompson, and it's a very long question. Anyway, I'll read this question to you, and it says this: I have personally worked with every mayor since Dave Stewart. And a few have made the effort to be out there in the public to talk to seniors on a one-on-one basis. The present mayor has made himself available in the most extraordinary fashion by answering his own phone calls and visiting all the seniors' facilities in the city. I have noticed his presence on numerous occasions, for example, assisting citizens in the nursing home I am in and at many facilities in the larger community. The question is to all candidates: how do you plan to address the seniors, particularly those who cannot speak for themselves due to their health and age conditions? Do you have personal commitments and promises?
Well, I think there's absolutely no doubt that I would have an open door. It would be an open invitation. I certainly answer my emails. I answer my phone calls. I will attend to anything that I can personally. And I think that it's extremely important. If we've got people that are shut in and they want to have that voice, they want to have that ear to that voice, I think the opportunity has to be given to them. We have tremendous assets in our administration as well. At times, when I receive a question or an inquiry from within the ward or from outside the ward, I've received many inquiries from outside my ward. I deal with those inquiries one-on-one. I'm not going to dodge them. I will pick up the phone. I will phone them. I will go down there. I will visit with those people in person. I will let the fellow councillor know from that ward if there's been an inquiry and allow them to attend with me. That would be my commitment.
I want to remind all of you, you have 2 minutes to respond.
Oh, yeah. He just used his 4 minutes.
Well, this is Conrad.
Oh, better be quiet then. Well, what am I going to do? The same thing I did yesterday and the day before. I'm going to be involved. I'm going to continue to visit every senior facility as I have for the last 20 years. I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to assist them to do whatever they want. And that's the key. Like, some of my friends laugh because Saturday nights you'll find me playing bingo. Now that one lady moved here to Abbeyfield House, I have a chance of winning at Kaiser now. Because we moved her out. I couldn't beat her, but now she's sitting here in the third row, happy to that point. But that's the key. The key is get out in the community. And don't wait till you're invited. You'll notice these candidates say, well, I'm invited. Well, nobody invites me to come here. I just knock on the door and come in. Can I have a coffee? They're so happy. The key is to be seen in the community and go to them. Don't wait for a call. Go to them. Go face to face. Go to everything that you can do. They're a growing concern. I'm involved with seniors strictly because I believe you have to know where you come from before you know where you're going. And you guys have so much wisdom and knowledge to pass on. And that's why I was so pleased to put lots of you on committees. Because that's where we need to go. We have to be partners and we have to grow together and we have to be one in our community. And so all I can say that I'm going to do in the future is just what I've done for the last 20 years. I'm going to be there for you. Thank you.
I'm committed to the community. I did a national walk just recently to raise awareness about abuse. Abuse affects everyone, it affects you. A friend of mine lost her father through abuse and neglect in a senior citizens home. I walked for that person. I'm here for the people because I take initiative. Nobody told me to go walk, nobody told me to organize this, nobody told me to go to events and just stand there. I actually get my hands dirty at every event I've ever been to and volunteer, even if it's just to wash dishes. I'm there for the people. I MC lots of events, I go to a lot of events and just end up standing around until the moment's like, you need some help. Do you want me to go out there? What can I do to help? And I'm here right now saying, what can I do to help you? I'm here for you. You're part of this community. You're part of my family. This is my family. I'm passionate about Prince Albert. Let's work together. Let's do this together. And together, doors will open. Things will happen. It's time.
Thank you. I've noticed there's a few people in here. I think I met some at Rib Fest, probably Cowboy Church. I've attended a lot of stuff this summer. It's been amazing to visit with a lot of the seniors and get their feedback. And this is something that I've really taken pride in throughout the last 2 months, is just making sure that I'm out there, not just walking aimlessly or just talking for lip service, but actually getting out there and listening to you all. And I mean, a perfect example of that is I got to meet a lady who was 104 years old. I mean, that's incredible. She moves well, she's sharp, she had some great wisdom. We got to share in that birthday, and that was a great thing for me to be involved in. I come from a farming background, and that's the wonderful part about the seniors, is a lot of them do come from farming backgrounds, and I think you know, if something we can all relate to is the amount of work you have to put in on a farm, and I'm very familiar with that. I've been involved in the cattle industry. Both sides of my family's farmed grain, potatoes, livestock, and my work ethic is better than most. And it's not easy for a younger guy to go into the senior towers and try to make conversation, but I'm more than willing to do that. And I just want you all to know that I'm prepared to work as hard, if not the hardest, that any mayor has ever done in this city for you all. And I just really want you to understand that. Please continue to follow me. I believe that the last 60 days, the next 40, 50 days going forward, I just really want you to understand the work ethic that I have, and the amount of effort that I'm prepared to put into to making the city a better place, because that's really at the end of the day what we all want.
Now the next question that will come from the audience will be answered by you, yes. Like Lake, and then Conrad, Martin. Doris, you were the first one as a hand. And by the way, I didn't plan to play.
Whoever's elected mayor, I hope you keep Hubert out of the city. I have 2 questions, and it should be very brief, because I only want a yes or a no from each person. Whoever's elected mayor, you know that our Heritage Center is closely connected to the Margot Fournier. If you are elected mayor, will you sell the Margot Fournier Center? Yes or no?
Are you asking the Heritage
Margot Fournier.
Well, can I clarify, because there are 2 different operations
I
there.
know.
There's a heritage market. So if you're tying them both together, the answer is no.
No.
No, it's Josh.
No.
No?
And speaking of age-friendly, years and years ago, all public buildings in Prince Albert were supposed to be wheelchair accessible. Our museum still does not have an elevator. The Presbyterian Church put one in for about $700,000. Now it would be $1 million to put an elevator in our museum, and plus the architect's fees. If you are elected mayor, will you do everything you possibly can? We used to be on the Capital Works program, somebody took it off. Will you do everything you can to try to get an elevator for the museum? Yes or no?
That's a definite yes.
I'm gonna say no.
I would probably be no at this point.
Yes to a fundraiser. If it needs it, let's raise the money. If the city doesn't want to do it, we can do it privately.
Question. Question, if the question comes from there, speak loud.
My question to each of the candidates is, why would you not already have pushed for free public bus service for seniors? It's done in other cities, and a basic service. Yes, we're fighting to give funds for the community service center. It's one of the best in the province, but for other seniors, why not that one major improvement right there and then? Would you support it? Free public bus service for seniors?
Go down.
I think that's a realistic and understandable goal. I think that's really achievable to do it, because we look at the bus service now and there's a finite cost to it every single year, right? We're looking at a public service that is needed in our community and should be provided, especially for our seniors that don't have that access to drive themselves. So I think we should be driving for that position.
That's a good question. What I'd like to say is we need the money. We need to find the money to do these things. And that's where we need to get down to business, and we need to start growing the city, and we need to increase our tax revenue. We need to start generating the income that we can actually look at these avenues to get this stuff taken care of. And I mean, everybody's got great ideas, great dreams, but at the end of the day, if there's no money in the hand, I mean, we can't even address that issue. So if I'm elected mayor, if I'm lucky enough to get your support come October, and I mean, these guys have had 9+ years to change the direction of the city, and I'm asking you guys, please consider changing the course of this place, and let's move the city in a different direction. I think it's time. So to answer your question, absolutely. And how I would go about doing that is, again, getting out there, marketing this city, bringing investment back here, creating the buzz, and let's get some revenue generated so we can do stuff like that. Thank you.
I think it's certainly something that should be looked at. I think you'd have to look through it. You'd have to see what your ridership is. I think you also have to increase your ridership, increase the use of your public transportation system. That's what's going to drive some offset revenue for that system as well. Currently today, we've got the public school system running their own bus service for their students going to school. We've got the Catholic school system running their own bus service to school. We should be driving those two to use our bus service. That would increase our revenue on our bus, but it would also give us potentially the opportunity to reduce our seniors' cost on that bus service down to zero. But it does come down to money. The bus service, our public transportation, is a tremendous subsidized facility. I'll call it a facility here in our city. And you know, we have to get some additional revenues coming in.
Okay, thank you for that question. That may be the end goal, but in the seniors I've talked to, they want a fair price, but they want clean, accessible, safe buses, and they want the buses to come closer to where they live. Most seniors that I talk to, their problem is the buses don't stop close to them, and they can't walk. One thing that we are doing, and I thought my colleague to the right might take it, you know, on opportunity to do this, the new city buses that we are looking at purchasing will hold, I'll get them to help me, 4 wheelchairs. So and walkers, they're going to be ramped. So we are moving in that way to more accessible, you know? And I'm just gonna respond to one cheap shot from my colleague at the bus. Yeah, we may be working on this for 14 years, not 9. At least we've been here, and not 5 months. So we're dedicated, and we're here for the long haul. We've been here. Martin's born and raised here. I've been here 27 years. So we know what our concerns are. So we're looking forward to it. We are moving forward, the new buses. And we have been, just so you know, with the purchase of the new buses, consulting with community services to make sure that we have what we need. They're the experts in it. And so I think that'll help us too when we have new buses that are running around the city, that when it stops at a bus stop now, it'll be able to pick you up. Whether you're standing with a walker or 2 feet or a motorized chair, you'll be able to get on those buses. So I think that's a big step forward for us. Thank you.
Next question. Sylvia.
Thank you. I'm hearing about new buses being purchased, but I can't help but wonder if more people wouldn't benefit by expanding the services and the hours first, and then looking at new buses as it's possible. Granted, some handicapped people would benefit from the new buses, but I think more people would benefit by expanding services and hours.
Josh. You go back. Josh, Conrad, Greg, Martin.
I agree with you. I don't know if buying brand new buses is going to be the answer. I don't know if that's going to increase anybody riding the bus. Offering more services, I think, is probably the better avenue for that. That's a heck of a price tag, and I'm not sure that that they really know that the results are going to be that much better.
To the purchase of new buses, and I thank you for the question. To the purchase of new buses, we can diversify. We can use the old buses for new revenues of income, renting out, using them for other avenues for transportation. So as your question was asked about services and hours and stuff like that, we should expand them, we should make it more accessible to people, and we have to strive for that. By the cost there, by the purchase of new buses, we can achieve better tax or revenue from that.
Thank you for that question, and we have a quick answer for that. In talking to the people that ride it, and talk to people that stopped riding it, is they stopped riding it because they were unfit, they weren't safe to be on the road, they were dirty, they weren't accessible in lots of cases. So that's why we bought these new buses. These new buses, when they stop, as I said at the bus stop, will be there for anyone that's standing there will be able to get on that bus. And we think that's going to increase ridership. And then once we get ridership increased, then we'll look at other programs. But I think first of all, you have to convince people that the bus is safe. You just heard about a woman that got hurt on the bus. She said he stepped on the brakes and they locked up and they jerked her head and she hit her head on the seat. Well, that's because of the condition of our buses. And just so you know, today we don't own our buses. We lease them from First Bus. And so that's been one of our complaints. We've been on them trying to do it. So our solution is to own the fleet, take care of the fleet, because at the end of the day, no matter whether we go into a building or a bus anywhere, we want to see clean, safe first.
Thank you. I was going to make similar comments, I guess, with regards to the purchasing of the buses. We've gone through a lease program. Now we're looking at a purchase program. We've got a fleet management program for all of our transportation equipment within our city. So I think it was weighing out the pros and cons of a lease program versus the purchasing of a bus, and then as well as hoping to add to our overall public transportation system. I think our public transportation system still has to be reviewed. I think it's something that's constantly has to be reviewed. And again, we have to look at the demographics. I just drove down 28th Street the other morning. The number of new immigrants to our country that were standing at the bus stop on 28th Street and 15th Avenue was astounding. It was incredible to see. Those people have come from a place that's what they're counting on, is our public transportation. That's what they're looking for. And I do believe by purchasing the buses, we've made the right decision. We actually scaled them back a little bit because we didn't have to have the size that was originally projected. So we've cut them back into the number of people that are going to be on those buses. So we've made some modifications that way.
Next question goes to Conrad. Oh, you?
No, I'm just keeping it.
Yeah. The next time we're gonna have 4 mics.
That's why we haven't got twisted up.
Next question.
One of the candidates support increasing the funding from the city to the community service center to keep the one vehicle that's not operating going. We got unions that donate vehicles for seniors, and when I hear this fact that they have a vehicle that they can't adequately have the resources, it takes $50,000, can we see a combination of that and extra fundraising in the community to get that other vehicle in service?
I look at Prince Albert, and there's three main issues: people, infrastructure, and business. If we don't work at a balanced portfolio to move forward, then how do we move forward at all? When we move forward in one aspect, we drop the ball on the other. So we have to move to the other. And you're right. We need to look at these avenues where Prince Albert steps up to the plate and donates that time, that effort, or that employee to do the driving for that situation. So I think we should look into it, and it should be done.
That's certainly an area that we have to work on. And one of the problems with the community center this year, and I'll say it point blank for you, it was disappointing, the fundraiser that we did for 2 Miles for Mary, the amount of money that we didn't receive. But that just shows that we're stressed in our community, donations. We only have so many dollars to go around, and those people are stressed. You know, we are in a downturn in our economy at this point, and so people are giving less. So next year when 2 Miles for Mary come up, we have to come up with a better strategy to go to more corporations in advance and get donations. I think we were caught off a little guard because they've always turned out for 2 Miles for Mary. I think this is the first time we had a downturn. And so we have to just work harder on that.
Thank you. Well, I think it's certainly something that I would like to, I would suggest that it gets put forward into the budget for 2017. And we start to put the dollars and cents and start to align the columns, and let's see what we end up with. I think we also have to have conversation with the community service center to see what exactly their requirement is, because sometimes it's the vehicle, sometimes it's the manpower, and sometimes everything doesn't all align. And that was one of the concerns that was brought up through a couple of the meetings that I sat at, was it just wasn't feasible for them to be operating 7 days a week. It just didn't work with the manpower structure that they had. But you know, certainly I think everything has to go into the budget, and then we start picking at it, and we start looking at where we can go with it and try and find the money for it.
Thanks. Well, this is interesting. I guess I'm the only one that went to the center to actually speak to the staff about how that program is run. So how it's functioning right now is there's a car sitting there. That car's not used. It just sits there because we don't have the funding to put a driver in that. There's a car that's not able to run on Saturdays because the driver's not paid. There's no money for it. So when they tell me that some seniors are waiting 10 to 14 days to go get a prescription, it's unacceptable. It's $50,000. So you know what? If I got to go and do a fundraiser myself to bring some awareness to it, I'm going to do it. I've been to that program, I've been in the building, I've spoke to the staff, and that's something that's really important to me. So, yeah, if I'm elected, I'm on it.
Next question. Good.
How many seniors do we have on council right now?
Oh.
We don't ask that question. I would say, oh, we got
By the way,
four? I would say four. Four. If I count, I'm 64. So I'm I'm 64 and a half. Then we're 3.5.
Counts.
We might only be two. Not sure what Rick, not sure what Rick wants.
It's hard to tell because we have 4 of us that are retired. So that's why I consider that a senior.
What's the total number of council?
And our full strength would be 9.
Next question.
Oops, guys.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. Candidates for Europe. I hear a little while ago that one of the mayor said that he goes to visit these people in their homes. I've never seen them now. Although I live right next to the cone shop. And there's people that come and watch the project. I've never seen him. Of course, maybe he doesn't drive, because, you know, he'd be concerned about the condition of the 6th Central Avenue viaduct. You know, because this is the kind of thing that really bothers me. See, people come out and say a lot of nice things, a lot of things they want to do. I get a kick out of this when where there are candidates there that are giving out their speeches when it's election for the chief and council. There used to be an old fellow, but he's passed away now, and he was a very intelligent man, and he became a senator and that, you know. And he used to say, geez, I should have brought my shovel, so I can shovel all this beer over here. Seriously, my concern is for our own people, my people. I'm a member of the Montreal Cree Nation. I've lived in the city, spent 9 years in the residential school, and after later on in years, I was on my own, and I found a partner here in the city. So for the last 40, we've been together since 68, something like that. It's about 45, 46 years maybe. But anyways, that's not the point. How much visiting do you do in the West Platte? See, there's people there, my people there, living in deplorable conditions, third world conditions. And people have expressed themselves that the refugees that are coming into the city are getting better treatment than we ever had. And that's the thing that you guys will have to look at if you intend to be number one in to deal with the city. And it's really frustrating, to tell you the truth. For myself, I've been hanging on, I've been hanging in there, very good. I run short of money too, and I run short of this and that, and another. But the thing is that I've managed to survive. So with that, I want to say, if one of these times I'm going to go visit these people I'm talking about, I'm going to say, have you seen them there coming out? And as you said, hello to you. See, the only time I see you is when there's a FSI meeting or a Grand Council meeting. I attend those meetings. Many things come about, but there's no really advocate for in our group anyway for the elders. I've got a number of names of elders that come from where I come from, Montreal, but that's just a short list. You don't. There's people there from Sand Lake. There's people there from all over the provinces close by. I mean the reserve close by. So that's why I'm saying it's a group of people that are separated from the rest of the group, and I'd like to see a little improvement in their lifestyles. And it's not only the adult people; it's the children that suffer the most. So I would ask if they would some program or something that could be put in place to give support to these people that are living in third world conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just tell you what we've done today to build partnerships, and you're right. When it comes to services and recreation services, the West Platte needs help. So what we have done is we have partnered with local Métis 269. They now manage Parkland Hall, our community center for us, and that's been a great partnership for us. We have a partnership at the Bernie Said Center, which we fund, and that was put in place just strictly for the kids because it's a well needed in the Flats. We are also negotiating now, I don't know if you're a vet, sir, but we are negotiating, the Boy Scouts have surrendered the building back to us. They don't have a big activity, and we're negotiating now with the federal government to make that an Aboriginal Veteran Center. So, because one thing that was identified during talking to all the vets, we have the Anna vets, we have the Legion, but we were short one group. And so we're making that building available. But it is a hard task. We are putting housing incentives in place to encourage people to build in the West Platte. We're soon going to announce a big retail store that's going to actually sell groceries, which was the #1 request from people in the West Platte. And we hope to make that in a week, even though the foundation is going in, we still can't make that announcement. But when we met with people in the West Platte, with our community groups, one of the biggest things they were looking for was groceries and retail, because there's none in the West Platte, they're in every other end of the city. But we have a big 20,000 square foot retail store that's going to be announced in the next week or 10 days that will be opening on 6th and 15th, with the old Holy Family Hospital site that we hope will get those needs.
I grew up in the West Platte. I grew up in the situation. I've seen a lot of my friends grow up in that situation. You talk about housing are below standards, and they continue to be substandard. Last year, they had an opportunity to get $10,000 grant for housing. Prince Albert has to step up and make sure that all our people have a standardized housing, so they can live in a healthy, clean environment. Where a lot of our elders would grow up and live in a place where mold was. My culture, I'm an Aboriginal male, and I'm proud to be running for mayor of Prince Albert. We look at senior citizens as being a vital part of our holistic view. Your important roles far exceed, because you're the keepers of knowledge. All the stories and everything else is passed on from elders to our people. And I look at you today and I say the same thing. My job as your future mayor is to ensure that we work together to achieve a common goal. You talk about how I'm going to shake your hand and walk away. I think our leaders have to be at every table. I think doors always has to be open, and honesty has to be forthcoming. And so, I'm not much of a politician, I'm a doer. And I do. That's all I've always been doing. So, I'm here for you, and I'm here to try to get that housing. And so all our people have that. Okay, quick, 22% of all our youth are in the West Platte. Within a 15-20 block area, 22% of all youth are there. They live in multiple housing units. As a student mentor, I went to all these houses and they were worried about getting diapers. How am I going to get food? How am I going to, and it was nice because as a mentor, I had a budget I could help these people. As a mayor, we have to step up and help organizations like the Sharing Meal, Seniors Transportation, all these organizations to help people and standardize our housing so all people can live and grow and be happy within their own homes.
Thanks for that question. And again, I don't think Mr. Dionne really answered that question, what he's done on the West Flat. I've spent a lot of time there. I've played ball hockey with the kids. I go to the skate park and I speak with the younger youth there that are scared to put a skate park on the West Flat because it's too dangerous. They feel like they're going to get recruited by a gang. I think that's unacceptable. And again, this all comes back to opportunity, and that's the thing that I want to make sure that I hit home on this, is that everybody needs an opportunity. And if we don't have those opportunities, we fall into a pretty dismal place. So I would just personally love to know how much time Mr. Dionne, or actually Mr. Ring for that fact, spends on the West Flat, actually listening to the community members out there. Because I know I should have.
Well, we've made changes recently. We put more bite into our bylaws. We put more power into our bylaw officers to deal with derelict properties, to deal with absentee landlords, to try and create the housing standards that we all want our individuals here in our community to have. Those bylaw changes took a long time for us to come up with those. And a lot of it came down to just the legal aspects of it. We had to jump through some hoops to make sure that we could do the things that we're asking our bylaw officers to do. We have to support our bylaw officers, and we have to support our police service to be able to go into those communities and be able to make those communities safer and allow those kids to be kids again. Through my work on John M. Cullender Library, we put a satellite station into the Bernice Saï Center. Absolute tremendous asset in there. A lot of the times the books are disappearing, they're not coming back. We're not chasing them down, we're not going and looking to get back the books or get back the DVDs. We put that in place into the Bernice Saï Center. The Bernice Saï Center has been fantastic. We continue to work with the school boards. We've got community schools now down in those areas. There's the breakfast programs at the schools that, you know, we're all supporting that one way or the other through our property taxes and through our education taxes as well. But, you know, when we look around in the West Flat, we've got spray parks that we placed down in there. Yes, we don't have a skateboard park there yet. That's not to say that we can't put one down there. But our bylaw officers and our police force need our full support if we're going to make any movement down in that particular area. Am I afraid to go down there? Absolutely not. I've been down there many times through my previous career, dealing with various issues with dogs being loose and with staircases and such, building amenity issues that we would phone our building inspectors and they would go in and then we would start to deal with, again, derelict properties, boarded up properties. That's what we have to start dealing harder with.
I'm going to quickly comment on this question of the gentleman from Montreal Lake. Since we have some candidates for council also here, and we have a ward system, and that ward system sometimes does not work for the West Flat. We have Charlene Miller, she's not opposed yet, and I know why she's not opposed, because she's a good councillor. However, what he's saying to the mayoral candidates to go to the West Flat. And my challenge is to the council candidates to not just focus in on your ward, because if you're elected, you're elected within your ward, but you become responsible for the whole city. So what my challenge to you is, to the council candidates, is to spend some time in the West Flat. I know your ward is important, but spend some time in the West Flat. That's where I live, right in the middle of it. I'm very concerned about the gun incidents. Very, very concerned. Several of them over the last few months. So, pay some attention. Next question.
Am I allowed to ask questions?
Yes, you're allowed to ask questions.
I apologize, I'm not biased at
Yeah.
all. I'm Patricia Crow. One of the challenges that I have with this advocacy debate going on right now is that nominations are still open. And these may be the candidates for today, but that doesn't mean that somebody might not be stepping up in the next 2 weeks in terms of challenging these gentlemen at the table. That's one of my concerns. The other concern is that, I apologize, I was a little bit late. I was taking care of my grandchildren, so I'm a grandmother. I'm not a senior because of age, but one of the challenges that I hear is around safety and crime, and John just brought that up. And we know that provincially and federally, I sit on a lot of provincial boards and a lot of commissions. I've sat on the Saskatchewan Police Commission for 7 years. I've sat on missing persons commissions, and that's usually where my attention is. I also do a lot with murdered missing Indigenous women and girls, and we meet with families all the time in terms of the fears, in terms of the issues, and we look at solutions in terms of what needs to be done. So one of my questions is in terms of safety and concern, because we have had some national violent acts in our community, and I know it's an area that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but at the same point, knowing that we have advocates and support groups out there that are addressing these issues, so that we are having a safe community, and that we have a response in terms of when somebody goes missing or somebody gets murdered in our community. And it's not just Aboriginal people. We had a senior who was murdered in our community up the hill by Crescent Heights. I can't remember the whole situation, I apologize. And so for me, crime and safety is a big issue. And we know that municipally and federally, within the next 2 years, which is in your terms as mayor, that there's going to be impact in terms of how our police deliver police services. And it's not in a matter of that they're not doing a good job, but they're there to serve and they're there to protect. And it's going to have impact. So I kind of want to know, from a crime perspective, and I apologize, but it does affect seniors, in terms of the impacts, and especially when it's addressing violence and abuse in our community. It's a huge issue that nobody wants to talk about because it's such a hard issue. But I think it's an issue that needs to be addressed, and so that these women and that these men are safe, and that I'm safe. And I apologize because I'm not a senior.
Can I ask for your name again, please?
My name is Patricia Crow.
Crow?
Crow. C-R-O-W with an E.
And what do you do here in the city? Are you campaigning today, or?
No, I'm here to listen to the mayors because I like to be informed, just as you are.
But you haven't directed a question to them yet?
My question is how are they going to address the crime and the safety that is in reference to violence and abuse in our community?
Is finished. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Patricia, for the question and the comments. It is very disturbing at times when we see the issues that do come up in our community. I'm not sticking my head in the sand. I sat on the police commission at one time for a couple of years. I was not reappointed to it for various reasons. And I haven't had that opportunity to be at the police commission table again. I do know that the community mobilization piece is huge. The core and hub that former police chief Dale McPhee is now controlling through the provincial ministry now. That's an important piece, and it has made tremendous strides within our community, even though we still have these incidents that do occur. But the core and hub is extremely important, and we have to continue to find ways to support that. We made, I'll say it on Greg's behalf, we made a serious response and demand to the province of Saskatchewan because they were looking at pulling the core and hub out of the city of Prince Albert, and they were going to move it to Saskatoon. And we said, you cannot do that. The core and hub is paramount for our police service here in the city of Prince Albert, and they kept it here. And out of that core and hub, we've had the alcohol strategy committee has had some impact now here in our community as well. The core and hub is paramount, but and once again, we have to give full support to our bylaw officers and our police services to let them do the job that we're paying them to do.
Welcome, Josh.
Well, I think it comes as no surprise when you have the fourth highest crime severity index in Canada. I don't think that's getting any better. I think when that comes out next, it's probably going to get worse. So this is a hard issue. I believe that the police force can be used in a much more innovative fashion. And I think that for the amount of money we spend on it, we need to make sure it's operating to the maximum efficiency that it possibly can. And in my term, if I'm fortunate enough to get in as your mayor, I'd like to see that change. I'm going to work really hard to make sure that people aren't afraid to use the Rotary Trail, that seniors aren't afraid to walk late at night, and to start actually addressing these issues and start cleaning this town up. Because I think it's time, and again, this is something that goes to the fact that we need a new direction here, and we need a chance to change that. And I think these guys have had enough time to do that, and I believe they've failed. And that's all I'd like to say about that.
Stand up.
Our police service is one of the most sought after and decorated police services all across Canada. Communities come to us and say, how are you guys dealing with this? And I'm proud to say that I'm part of this community because of that. And we have to take an active role in this. There's community-based organizations that are working with our police services to deal with situations like drugs, gangs, to help overcome these situations. Unfortunately, we do sit in a situation where there's only so much money in the pies to deal with this, and we're working to overcome that. Where the police services fall short, people can take up the gauntlet and work with them. We look at communities like Winnipeg, Regina. They have these community groups that work with the police services to deal with this. They go searching for needles. They go talk to people about drugs. They go ensure that their communities are safe on a Friday and Saturday night. How do you get rid of gangs? How do you get rid of drugs? How do you get rid of, put a light on it? Make the light bigger, brighter, so it's impossible for the darkness to shine. Work with the people within the community. I remember when I was a kid, we had neighborhood watch, where you always had that one house where you felt safe to go to in the community. I have not seen a neighborhood watch in a long time, where people like, someone's being, so we have to talk to ourselves, let's see what we can do, and take up that gauntlet and help our community get stronger as we work with our leaders, work with our police services. Thank you.
Well, when it talks about policing, it is probably the hardest thing to talk about in our community. Because one of the things that have affected policing is the downloading from levels of government. Our police today are more mental health officers. We're dealing with problems, police with mental health patients that we should not be. But we have no more homes for them to close. We close the homes, we put them out on the street, so we're dealing with them. But one thing I want to share with everyone, what Patricia Crowe said and what everyone said here, you're talking about our country. Our crime index and our rates have gone up across our country. Look at our province. When you look at the crime index, we've got Regina, North Battleford #1, we got Regina, we got Saskatoon. It's just society today, and that's sad. But we can change society, but we have to work together. And we can't change society, work together by, oh, it's the police's fault. No, it's not the police's fault. We give them the equipment and tools. Like my colleague to the right said, the hub and core is big for us. It's helped us. We have partnerships with the schools. We have police officers in the schools. We're working with the schools. We're working with social services. But the problem that we have, policing, the day of policing in the past, policing used to be, they looked at policing, it was straight enforcement. Where now we're community workers. We're dealing with more mental health patients than we ever have. And that's not our job. Our job as police officers in the city are not to deal with mental health patients, but they're left to us. And we continue to work on it. We have an issue with homeless people. So we're working hard to deal with, and we're working with the right organization. We're working with the YWCA. Not us. What do we know? The YMCA, they're experts on homeless people and shelters and helping people, the Salvation Army. And that's what we have to do. Would I like the crime rate to go down? Absolutely I would. But unfortunately, it's not going down anywhere. But can we do better? We can work harder. One thing we do, and a fact that I'll tell you, is we started tracking our arrests by postal codes a few years ago, and 1/3 of the people that we arrest in this city does not live in this city. So that's why we have 18 funded officers by the province. By the province. Because we said to the province, policing is an issue in our city, and why should our city pay for policing the north? And we proved with them with the postal code addresses that 1/3 of the people we arrest don't live in our city. So we got to continue to pressure them. We have 100 officers. So I believe they should give us 12 more. They should be responsible for 1/3. It should not be on the burden of our taxpayers to keep us safe. We are, unfortunately, we are the gateway to the north, but we're also the gateway to the south. And some of the problems we get, and I'm not blaming any group, because I congratulate them. If I could do what some of our native bands have done, where we ban alcohol and drugs, wouldn't that be great as a city if we could do that? Look at the problems we solve, but unfortunately we can't do that. And we end up with the after effect. But I praise our police department. They're going all over the place for the work that they do and the character that we have. And we have great men and women that work for us, and they need our support, not our criticism.
Yesterday I got a message from Councillor Miller about the same concern about having candidates still to declare between now and the 22nd of September. This forum was organized 8 months ago. And we know the election dates. We also know that we have spoken to councillors, or pending councillors, and pending mayors about this forum. As seniors, we wanted to have it early done rather than later. We want to have seniors' issues up forefront of the agenda of this new council and the new mayor or the elected mayor. So we really wanted to do that. And that's what I blessed actually before you came in, Tricia. And, but I got that phone call from Charlene Miller expressing the same concern. It's not a concern. We just have an early debate about seniors' issues, and if there are any other candidates, all council members will be getting our stand, the Prince Albert Seniors Advocacy stand, on the issues which I outlined today here earlier. All councillors will receive that and are asked to report back in writing to us. That includes other mayoral candidates. And they will report back to us, and then we'll report to the media, our way, social media, conventional media, about who we feel should be on council. And that's what we're going to do. We're actually going to say who should be on council. I might make lots of enemies, but we have 25% of the voting bloc here in this city, and we're going to speak up on issues. Now, we're at the end. They all have 2 minutes, and we're going to go in the reverse order of starting. So we're going to go to Martin first, then Craig, then Conrad, and then Josh. As we started just the opposite. You have 2 minutes for the final statement. Martin, Craig, Conrad, and Josh.
Well, again, I just want to thank, I want to thank everyone very much for allowing me the opportunity and us the opportunity to address you this afternoon. I am taking the position of mayor very seriously. This is something that I talked about a long time ago. I basically knew it getting into my last term on council, that this would be my last run as a councillor. My next one was going to be taking a shot at being mayor. I've been on council for 10 years. I've enjoyed my work as a councillor. I'm apprehensive giving up my ward. It's a tough thing to do. I've been doing it for 10 years. I've done that while juggling a career, while juggling family life. There's a lot of commitment. There's a lot of commitment from myself. There's a lot of commitment from my wife as well. When we're talking about giving up winter holidays and such, that's what we're doing. We're giving it up. I want to be mayor of the city of Prince Albert. I love the city. I think the city has tremendous potential. We need some help. We need help from provincial. We need help from federal. We need healthcare improvements. We need more money. Money is always at the root of all evil, unfortunately. The social issues in our community, not going to hide from them. We have to take them on head on. We've got a broken needle exchange program. It needs to be fixed. It cannot continue to operate the way that it is, and we have to have some serious conversations with the provincial government and with our healthcare system with regards to that. The homelessness, I think it's hard for any of us to imagine homeless people and what they're going through. And some of the mental issues. For most of us, I'll say that for most of us, we're normal. We're the ones that, we've made a living for ourselves. We're still active in our community. And I think it's really hard for us to understand when people are having issues like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. First of all, thank John and your organization for organizing this, and thank you all for coming. Because what's important is that we get out and get counted. So I want to encourage everyone to make sure whoever you're going to vote for, that you vote. That's one of our rights, and we have to get people out to, if you want change and you want to move ahead, you got to get out and vote. So I want to encourage that. I've enjoyed being the mayor's chair. It's quite different than being in the councillor's chair. I was in the councillor's chair for 9 years, and it's quite a change to go up. But I believe Prince Albert's a beautiful city. I believe this is where we can grow up, we can raise our children, we can retire here. There's lots of things that we can do better. I want one of these candidates to get up and say that they're perfect. You know, when you hear them talk about us, that's how they want us to be. Well, sorry, there's no perfect person in the world. You know, but the key is that you listen and you're willing to change and move things forward. And some of the best changes that we've had at City Council is because 200 people showed up and said, we don't like this and we want change. So when you hear them in the name blame game, as I call it, well, we're all to blame, because at the end of the day, this is our community, and that's why I'm glad you're here today, because that shows me that you care about our community and that we want to move it forward. So I want to move it forward. One of the things I've started with the process, with the two Johns, as I call them, Gunther and John, is age-friendly community, and I can see us doing that shortly. We're actually going to have a report come to council on the process and the steps that we should do before this council leaves, so that we know, send a message to the next council that we've started this. So as you know, I'm running again. I'm looking forward to meeting you at other events, and my door is always open. I'll take a while getting your phone calls back to you, strictly because I'm going to show up to your house. I don't like talking on the phone. And if I've missed you, you call me back, because I'll be there. But at the end of the day, I believe I'm here to serve, and that's what I'm going to do. Thank you again for coming up.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for letting me talk. In the time here, I've listened to a lot of concerns. We talked about transportation, health, taxes, accessibility. And I know I'm not perfect. I'm far from it, but I'll try. I don't have all the answers, but I'll find the answers for you. I'm here for the people. I work with the kids. I work with adults. I've organized many, many events and participated in far more. And I love our community. And I want to strive for something that we work together towards. Let's overcome these gangs, let's overcome the drugs, let's overcome accessibility issues. When you come talk to me, I will listen. Something will be done. Because that's what I do. Thank you.
Thanks to you all that asked questions. It's been I'm not a lip service guy. I want to see concrete results, and I want to see things changing, and I want to see things going for the better. And I mean, a big part of the reason why I decided to run, and I mean, this should be known, is that we really only had to pick from the same pool for so many years, and I don't feel like we've really seen a difference or a change. And you know, that sparked my interest enough to just take a new course, point the city in a different direction, and let's see what's possible. And again, just basing that on results. And I mean, anybody can move forward, as everybody said, but do we really know where we're going? And that's a big question that I have. We're always going ahead. We're moving forward. We're always going ahead, but where are we going? And that's the thing that I really don't understand. And that's the thing that I want to bring to the table is I've got a direction. I got a goal. I need to see, as well as you all, less burden on tax. I mean, we're being taxed to death here. And the simplest thing in the world to do is just continue taxing the people. And there's different avenues. And again, that comes back to just being creative, bringing investment in, causing a stir about our community, and getting that outside influence in so that our tax base increases. And I mean, we just hear promise after promise. It's going to be a grocery store on the West Flat. It's going to be this. It's going to be this. It's a Home Depot. It's this. I mean, at the end of the day, what have we really seen? And again, I just want to commend these guys for all stepping up to the plate. We all have everybody's best interest in mind. I'm 33 years old. I feel like I relate to the youth very well, and I relate to the seniors very well. I'm right in between. I'm right in the middle. And always willing to listen, take your concerns to where they need to go and actually get something done. So again, I just wanted to thank you so much. This has been a great opportunity so far. It's been a lot of fun, and I look forward to giving it all I got until October 26th and proving to you all that I'm the man for the job. Thank you.